The secret ancient Stoic philosophy Seneca used to break free from the chains of self-doubt about money. What if I told you that feeling bad with money isn't a fact, but a story you've been telling yourself? I know that feeling. I once looked at my bank account and saw a mess I couldn't fix. Every failed budget, every forgotten bill felt like proof I was broken. But here's the truth. That shame is a trap. It's not about math, it's about mindset. And the Stoics, especially Seneca, knew this 2,000 years ago. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." This isn't a cliché, it's a psychological truth. Our brains are wired for confirmation bias. If you believe you're bad with money, you'll only see evidence that proves you right. You ignore the times you saved and obsess over the one latte you bought. The story becomes your reality. But what if you could rewrite it? Consider a study from the Journal of Consumer Research. Participants who identified as bad with money were 40% more likely to overspend in a simulated shopping task. Why? Because the label gave them permission to fail. They thought, I'm bad anyway, so why try? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. One client of mine, Sarah, called herself this for years until she stopped, and within 6 months she saved $5,000. Now the second principle. Epictetus taught that we control only our judgments and actions, not external outcomes. When you label yourself as bad with money, you're making a judgment about your identity, not a fact about your behavior. You're saying, this is who I am, not this is what I did. And that judgment becomes a cage. But here's the twist. If you change the judgment, you change the outcome. Stoicism is about reclaiming that power. I worked with a man named Tom. He had a 6-figure income, but felt like a financial failure. His label, bad with money, came from one credit card mistake at age 22. For a decade, he avoided looking at his finances. When he finally separated his identity from his actions, he discovered he was actually a disciplined saver. The label was a ghost. He just needed to see it. The deepest insight? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Your financial identity is not fixed. It's a reflection of your repeated beliefs. If you think I am bad with money, you dye your soul in that color. But you can choose a new thought. I am learning to manage money. That shift is not denial. It's the first act of freedom. The moment you stop identifying with the problem, you can start solving it. There's a famous story about the philosopher Crates. He gave a young man a bag of coins and said, "Now go and spend this as wisely as you can." The man spent it on simple needs. Crates then gave him another bag and said, "Now spend this as foolishly as you can." The man couldn't do it. His nature had already changed. Once you practice wisdom, folly becomes impossible. That's the power of a new identity. So let's tie this together. The belief that you're bad with money is a story, not a sentence. It's a judgment you made, maybe from a single mistake or from watching others struggle. But that judgment is not you. It's a habit of thought. And Stoicism teaches that habits can be broken. You have the power to rewrite the narrative. When you stop calling yourself bad, you free yourself to become good. It's that simple and that profound. But here are the stakes. If you ignore this, the label solidifies. I've seen people stay in toxic financial cycles for decades, convinced they're bad with money. They miss out on buying homes, funding their dreams, or even feeling peace. The cost isn't just money, it's dignity, freedom, and self-respect. The ancient Stoics knew that a free mind must not be enslaved by its own labels. Break yours, or you'll stay in a prison of your own making. Your identity is not your destiny. The label is a lie. You are not bad with money. You are a person who has made mistakes, like every human before you. Now choose a new thought. I am capable of learning. That's the only truth you need. If this resonated, subscribe to break free from these ancient traps. Next week, we'll explore how the Stoics mastered the art of saying no, and why it's the secret to protecting your time, energy, and peace. See you then. Follow for timeless wisdom that actually works today.